Today I thought I would share with you a homeschool plan with me. Now, this is a DIY planner that I've put together. I have had variations of it over the years, and I think I've got a couple of videos showing them. But this one is what I started last year, and I've adapted it. This is what I've got. So these are both pages that I've created. Now, this side is my homeschool, and this side is my home pages. If you don't know, I use Homeschool Panda for Matthew, and this year I moved Ben away from Homeschool Panda. He's using OneNote. I've got a video about that, so I will link that down there. So the day-to-day for the homeschool stuff is not on here. This is more my general weekly overview things. My current supplies for planning, in addition to my planner, are the flare pens. I have been a big time fan of the friction pens, but with our day-to-day homeschool planning not being in here, I find that I need it less, the erasability. So I've been using those. And then I always have a couple different kinds of post-it flags with me because you never know what we're gonna need. I've got a this week, so just kind of reminding me of anything big that's going on this week or important or just anything that I want to call attention to. Supplies, anything that we might need that's new. For Mom is where I write down anything that I'm doing, especially on my own, or tracking like the videos and blog posts that I'm going to put out. Focus of the week, notes and to-dos, coming soon. So anything that I need to be aware of that's coming up. For example, if Matthew has a lab coming up for science, I'm going to put that on there so I can look ahead to check for supplies. If there's anything coming up for specifically for the kids with church or whatever. And then down here is a moment I'll remember that every week I just jot down something that made me laugh or something we learned, whatever. And so at the end of the year, I've got a little memory spot. Okay, now let's get busy planning. Enough chit chat. Now, I do not color code as much as I used to. When I did all our planning on paper, I did color code for each of my kiddos, but since I do it on the computer now, I don't really need to. Starting with this week, my boys have something, they're going away for the weekend for with church, so I've got that on there. And we have an extra art class this week for Matthew. We are starting a new fish tank unit for Matthew as well. And Ben, I don't know if there's anything special in there for Ben. Now supplies, I need to order 2 new books for Matthew. And then Matthew has science lab this week. So let's look at what supplies I might need for it. We are using Real Science Odyssey this year for science and really enjoying it. He is doing it mostly independently, so that is different for us because both boys are doing independent science this year with labs and such. Last year for Black Friday, they had a sale for Panda Press ran a sale. So if you are interested possibly about using them for science next year, I would highly suggest you go check out my video that I did where I did a walkthrough of it so that you can see if it might be something that'll work for your family. Okay, so we are on chapter 5 this week. Oh, we laughed at the beginning of the school year. We were looking at this. One of the supplies is another person. I'm like, oh, well, there's nothing concerning about that. And I'm sure it's just a hold, but it made us laugh. Okay, so the only thing, get this, that we need, nothing. No, perfect. Okay, let's while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at chapter 6 as well, so I can start thumbtacks. Put that on my shopping list. Okay, and then we're going to take a look at what Ben has for science as well. He is using Build Your Library level 9 this year. I'm enjoying it pretty well. This book, you know, it's fine. They are definitely like what I would deem demonstrations, not experiments, which is fine for what he's doing this year. Let's see, tennis ball. I don't have any tennis balls. Okay, let's put that on the list. Which is fine for this year, but he's definitely going to need a lab next year. They're quick. I don't always know that, I'm not always convinced that they're worth the effort, but whatever, he enjoys them. Now this is the lesson map for Fish Tank unit. He is doing, it's a 5th grade unit, unit 5, something about a place to belong. It uses the book One Crazy Summer and Brown Girl Dreaming. Now, 5th grade is obviously below his level, but I'm also just wanting him to, one, get in the habit of learning how to do something different for language arts besides just read a book. The other part is that we're still adding to it and we're pulling history based on what Fish Tank unit he's doing. So I feel like it rounds off pretty well. So next week he will start this and we will get through probably 3, maybe 4 lessons, probably 3. So I'm gonna put down new fish tank, and my goal is 3 to 4 lessons. Now, reminds me I also need to put on here to order library books. I just remembered that Ben needs a new book for science too, The Sea Around Us, and I need to actually order it. My library doesn't have it. On Monday, Matthew has an extra art, as I said. I'm gonna make a note because I need to bring him a snack because it's gonna butt up over his lunch, and water and the laptop because he'll need to log into math and watch it as we drive home. Okay, for Mom, let's see, I am going to be putting up this video, Playing With Me video. I am also starting a new job. I'm also starting a new job next week, working from home. And so I'm going to have lots of onboarding next week, which is going to make for a busy week for us. Something else I need to do this week is look for a new out-school history class for Matthew. He was enrolled in a short-term one that didn't get enough students. So I need to look for that for him. Now, other than the meals, I have the week pretty well planned. It's a busy week, so I wanted to make sure that I got as much out of my brain and onto paper as I could. Now, the last things that I need to do, though, are plan our together work. So let me put you over to the computer, and we'll do that. Before I pull up the computer, I recently talked about that we are doing kind of a themed afternoon each week, or each day. And so on Monday we do a religion class. Tuesday we are finishing up Story of Science, which is the Einstein book, number 3. We do something with Disney. On Wednesdays we do logic. On Thursday, which right now we are doing information literacy. And then Friday is usually a catch-up day or some free learning, depending on what's going on. So this is how I'm organizing in OneNote. I've got just a religion notebook, and then this section, we're using the family tree, like I showed you. And we are working with, right now, the Orthodoxy Church. So I've already planned most of this unit, but I needed to double check that we are on track. We beliefs and the human condition. So we're ready for the scripture and tradition. And then I think we're going to be able to finish off all of these 3 readings next week, and then we will watch the other videos. One is just a tour of what an Eastern Orthodox church, I think, or Russian, I forget which one, what a church building might look like. Its place with the Cold War, Eastern Orthodox versus Oriental Orthodox, where they talk about the two different, I'm not sure denominations are the right word, but the 2 different ones. And then we'll watch one about the African Orthodox Church as well. So that's basically how I plan out my weeks. Ideally, let's be honest, there are weeks when that doesn't happen at all. And it usually shows as I'm kind of bumbling through our days. But I've definitely gotten better the past year, 2 years. I've really been focusing on planning for a big chunk at a time, and online planning definitely helps me with that. So even when I don't sit down and get to my week plan like that and stuff, it still doesn't go too badly. It also really helps, let's be honest, that my kids are older. If they need something and I've forgotten to get that supply, it's super easy just to tell them to move on to something else, and then we'll come back to it either way that day or another day in the week. Let's just be honest. Like, if your kids are little, then it's just a different level of planning, and things like that aren't always as easy to adapt to. And of course, now with holidays coming, that's going to add a different level of busyness to our days and weeks as well. So anyway, are playing with me. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.